Hey guys, what's up? Thomas here. Today in this YouTube video we're going to be talking about how to find your style as a travel filmmaker, travel videographer, budding passionist filmmaker, whatever you want to call yourself. You always want to have a style and you want to have that recognizable kind of brand that you gravitate towards as somebody who makes videos. And in this video we're going to be going over some tips on how you can actually find that style and how you can move towards developing something a bit more consistent for yourself. And the ideal scenario being somebody watching your video and thinking, wow, that is Bob. You know, like being able to recognize your style in you as a person. Like when you hear a certain track on the radio and you know it's a certain artist, even if you haven't heard it before. We want the same thing for your films so people can start recognizing that and you can start building that brand for your videos. All right, let's crack into this. First tip I'm going to give you is making sure that you don't spend too long planning out your style before just taking action. So the first tip would really be to take action first and discover your style through taking action. When I say taking action, in this scenario, I mean making videos. For myself, it's been a long process over a couple of years to find my style, and to be honest, I haven't really found it yet, and it's still something I'm actively working towards as I'm making these films. But it's a longer process over making one video, making another video, making another video, and then really discovering what works in those videos. Definitely taking action is how you're going to find that style, rather than obsessing over watching other people's videos and then really trying to plan your own style in accordance to that. It's never going to work because you never know what you're going to enjoy making as a person unless you make stuff. And you never know what's going to stick well unless you make something of your own and put it out there. And you never know what you're going to be good at. And these three things, like this triangle here of what you're good at, what you enjoy, and what actually works in the real world, is what you really want to try and find as your style. Because you can have a style that is working really well in the world and you're really good at it, but you just hate doing it. It's not going to be sustainable. And if it is, you're not going to enjoy your life. If you have something that you really enjoy, but it just doesn't do well and you're not actually that good at it, do it as a hobby. I wouldn't make it your main kind of source of video making ability, essentially. So you really got to find something that's in that triangle, and the only way you can find that is by taking action on that. So step one is go into this with the mindset of I'm going to discover this through action and through experience. Okay, so once you've made a few videos, you'll start noticing small little details in each video that kind of come up as a recurring theme. And this is tip number 2. We're talking about paying attention to these small details and then using them to define your style. Because it really is a story of the small things add up when it comes to a style. Yeah, sure, there are some bigger things which we're going to get onto in tip number 3, but as I said, it really is a story of those small things adding up that can really make your style. So keep in mind the stuff that you are naturally gravitating towards. Maybe that is using a certain lens or a certain focal length at a certain angle, and those kind of shots are just always working for you. Or maybe it is a certain subject matter, a certain kind of small thing that you love to film. Maybe it's people's eyes or something like that. Or even a certain movement that you love, or a certain pace. Maybe it's you love going high energy, then bringing it down to very slow, very suddenly. Or maybe you like doing that over time. These things all add up, and one piece of advice to you would be to create almost like a checklist of the stuff that typically is your style in your videos, and write that stuff down, and you can really kind of get a visual map of like, oh, what does make a Bob Jones video? Like, what really does make that? What adds up? What are the little things that I love to do that define my style? And then you can focus more in on those small things, and you can keep on developing them as you go. Tip number 3. This is more of an overarching thematic tip that is about the subject matter of your videos. This changes. It's not something that's set in stone. However, certain people gravitate towards a certain subject matter, or at least a certain theme of subject matter. Some people love covering controversial topics, for example. Some people just love the tropics. Some people just love filming videos in the tropics. That's like what they gravitate towards. If you think of a certain person, maybe you would think tropical, energetic. maybe just by those two words, tropical and energetic, you can kind of sum up somebody's style. Maybe that's your style. Maybe somebody else's style is cold and emotional. Like maybe they love filming in those kind of blues, those dark environments, and communicating very like visceral, dark emotions. Maybe that's that person's style. As I said, subject matter can change, this kind of thematic style can change, but it's really useful for you to define what that is for yourself in this moment or in this period of time, because that will give you a lot of consistency with your style. Not only in the kind of logistics of making the video and those micro things, we talked in tip number 2, such as shot types and things like that. This one's more what are you actually interested in filming? What do you actually love doing? A style could be somebody who is just going and doing daily errands and doing daily things, but making them as interesting as they can. So my friend John, for example, he really enjoys making films about him doing stuff that is kind of typical day in the life, but making them very interesting. For example, going into a city and getting some donuts and then making a really cinematic, awesome edit out of that and telling a little story along the way. Maybe that's your style. There can be a ton of different ranges of subject matter styles or thematic styles that you can choose from. As I said, relating back to tip 1, go out there and start doing it, figure it out for yourself, and then you can develop tip 2, the micro, and tip 3, the macro as well. We've just had an epic bird landing in this lake behind me as well. And by the way, we are in Hampstead Heath, if I hadn't already said, with majestic creatures flying around in this very tranquil park. But I hope that gives you some subject matter to kind of digest, and I hope you take those 3 tips into account when trying to find your style, because it's a really exciting time, you know, whether it's before you're starting to make stuff or during or after. Finding that style and developing that style is one of the most exciting parts of the filmmaking process. And when you really do land on a style that you like, hitting all those 3 things that you enjoy, that you're good at, and that's working for you, then that can be an incredible, exciting time, and that's something that kind of we're all working towards. All right, guys, keep filming. I'll catch you very soon in another video. Bye-bye. Why not?